Did you see me do that? I didn't touch my armpit. I lifted up my boob. I'm dying. Normally I wear a sweater so I can just be comfy and have my fupa hanging out. Do you know what a fupa is? Okay. Have my fupa hanging out, but okay. Huh? A fupa? Really? Hot take. Well, you've told me about cellulite. I didn't know about fupa. Interesting. Okay. Oh my god, I need to regroup. Okay, that was perfect. Okay, typically you guys know, Whiners, hello, hi, happy Thursday. Typically I would like to wear a hoodie because, I don't know, I can just let my fupa hang out, my titties hang out. Like, I don't want to wear a bra at home. I want to be comfortable, But also sex sells, you know what I mean? But also, do these saggy titties sell? You guys know I've talked endlessly about bras, and I want... this is my favorite tank that I own. It's like a little crop thing. I wear it all the time, but there's no built-in bra. Can't wear a bra with it because I don't wear strapless bras. And anyway, if you're watching, you can see what I mean. I get super flattering on the neckline and stuff, but anyway, I'm just over here grabbing my titties nonstop, and Cinco's watching the monitor to make sure everything's going okay. And I also don't like him to look at me directly when I'm recording a solo podcast, so he's just like dead set looking into the monitor right now. Anywho, welcome back, Whiners, to a solo episode with your girl P Honey. I have to start off with a ridiculous scenario that happened at work today. And I'd like to start it off by saying I've been working at this company, you know, you all know, I mean, if you're new, I used to costume for TV and movies. I still do that occasionally. But most recently, for the past 2.5 years, I've been working at this company. It's like a real office job, corporate. It's great. All things great about it. But because I'm just a little extra and wild and weird and unique and things like that, I kind of have tried to stay pretty quiet and I don't know, just I don't want to be noticed too much, but I do understand that it is hard not to notice me, even if I don't open my mouth. I'm 5'10" and I don't know, I get it. It's not like I'm a meek little, girl walking around the office. But anyway, let's see, I've been there 2.5 years, 2 years. And for the last majority of those 2 years, I've been minding my own business, head down, just I have a few people that I talk to all the time because we're close in proximity where we sit, and I love them and they're lovely, and I love everyone I work with, by the way, if you're listening. But basically I just try to keep my head down. But then a few weeks ago, as you guys know, I participated in the Hot Ones challenge. And then also, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast, one of my coworkers and friends at work is always dressing cute in bright colors, and she one day came in this white shirt and bright orange skirt, and she just looks so summery. And I was like, oh my god, you look so cute and summery. And she's like, and you are wearing black. I was like, yeah. She's like, I mean, it's 105. What are you doing? I was like, to be honest, I'm just trying to keep my head down. Not that I don't do a good job. It's not like I'm trying to stay under the radar in that way, but I don't know. I think I'm a little bit nervous about what everyone's thoughts are going to be on the podcast as they begin to find out. And I don't know, if I wear a different color, maybe they're going to know I automatically have a podcast. Anyway, so she's like, I've seen your clothes on Instagram. You should start dressing more like you want to dress. And I was like, okay, cool. So I kind of started doing that a month ago. And then I participate in this Hot Ones wing challenge. And then I'm getting a little bit more active in the Teams channel. I'm getting a little bit more just chit chatty. Can't hold my tongue anymore. I can't suppress who I am. You know what I mean? And so what the fuck happens today? I walk into work and they have completely, what is the word? I mean, decorated. They decorated my desk, but it's not a decoration. They transformed my desk into a Whataburger drive-through station. If you're listening and you're from, I guess, I don't know if Whataburger is a Texas thing or a Southern thing or what kind of thing, Cinco? Is it a Texas thing? Okay, so Whataburger is a fast food burger place if you haven't heard of it before. Honestly, it's a fine fast food chain. It's enjoyable, but because I'm from California, I'm always like kind of mentioning or like fighting back to people when they talk about Whataburger. And I'm like, yeah, I can't have Whataburger because I'm just going to like want to go shit my pants or take a nap. Like I can't have a Whataburger and feel good about the rest of my day. I can't be productive. It's fast food. It makes me feel like gross, sweaty, dirty, yucky. Like, I don't know if anyone else has that mind game that they play with themselves about fast food and sweets and stuff, but I do. Anyway, I'm always saying like, I wish more fast food was like In-N-Out. In-N-Out is still a great, flavorful treat, but it is from fresh ingredients, and it doesn't make me feel like I like ate a old cow afterwards. Like, I feel fine. I just feel like I can go on with my day. Everyone bitches about the fries, saying they're like hard or like cardboardy and no flavor. And it's like, you gotta get them animal style. Anyway, like I love In-N-Out. So I'm always talking about how I love In-N-Out and like they're just on different scales to me. Like you can't put In-N-Out. I would put In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A in more of the same category than In-N-Out and Whataburger because I don't feel like such shit after Chick-fil-A kind of thing. I don't know if I'm making any sense. But anyway, they thought it would be hilarious. So I'm going to have to post a photo. They completely decorated my desk. They used like those plastic orange tablecloths from Party City all over my desk, like under my computer, under my docking station, under everything, my keyboard, my mouse, taped it to my desk, did like a Whataburger cup garland. They did a peaked Whataburger roof, like the orange and white roof. They did a drive-through station. Okay. So I was like walked in shock and I was like, damn, my cover's blown. Like I've not been keeping my head down the past month. I got found out. I'm funny and I'm likable and now everyone knows, you know? And so I was laughing and I was like, damn, like you guys didn't have to go so hard. Like you guys did a really good job. This is not a shitty decoration job. You really did it. Like, wow. And I was like, you even did the drive-through? And then they tell me, oh yeah, you're going to be, when are you available between this time today? We have something for you to do. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be serving food out of the drive-thru. Are we catering lunch? And they're like, no, we're going to do ice cream. It's National Milkshake Day. That seems a little too hard, so we're going to be doing root beer floats and ice cream. So I served for 45 minutes of the day today. People would come up to the window by my desk, the drive-thru window, and I was serving them ice cream treats. Like, what the hell? So I thought that was hilarious. But my cover is definitely blown there. Like now I just gotta be myself, you know what I mean? And like maybe they're not gonna like the full self. Maybe they're gonna be like, wow, Paige the quiet girl was better than Paige the loud girl. And again, I tell you, I'm nervous all the time when my CEO finds out I have a podcast. Like if you guys are listening, my coworkers, like just have my back when that time comes, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be a scene. Like they're gonna be like, what are you talking about this podcast? You should not work for this company. And to that I say, have a little fun. That's what I would say. Like, I'll live a little. Anyway, they were like, should we go get Whataburger for lunch? I was like, absolutely not, because like I said, I'm going to feel like shit and I don't want to do that. But speaking of, I did have Taco Bell. Remember David, my physical therapist, David Clay, was on, 2 to 3 episodes ago. And we talked about Taco Bell and how I never had it sober. Well, I did remember that I did used to eat Taco Bell sober with my grandma. We would go there and like people watch. We'd order food and go sit in the car and people watch. So that was really cute. And then I started ordering it when I was hammer drunk, when I started drinking it. I don't know, 11 or 12. My sister reminded me that I would say like, I want a Crunchwrap Supreme. Anyway, so I went and got Taco Bell sober a couple weeks ago. Overall, it's definitely not as good as I remember it being drunk. Like it is chef's kiss when you're drunk. And I asked for 25 hot sauces. I did receive 18 and it did work because I didn't eat all of the Taco Bell. I got a Crunchwrap Supreme, I got a cheesy gordita crunch, and I got the Mexican pizza. Cheesy gordita crunch was great. Crunchwrap Supreme second, and then the pizza. It just tasted too much like tomato sauce to me, which was kind of weird. But anyway, knock that off my list. So now what I want to do is I want to get Arby's because it does honestly sound really good. And we were talking today about how McDonald's has the best fries and McFlurries and Fountain Coke. So I don't know why I'm on this like fast food journey when I'm trying to be like health conscious and fit and happy and healthy. But here we are. Other news, great idea, Redhead Rachel, when she was on a few episodes ago, she told Cinco and I about the housekeeper that she uses that is like super cheap and she's been using them for years. And so I called them and they came and cleaned my house. And I would say they did a good job. They were here for an hour and a half. So they did a good job for an hour and a half. There were 2 of them. And I don't know, the house looked like it would after an hour and a half of my cleaning. You know what I mean? I think I have unrealistic expectations for what I want a housekeeper cleaner to be able to do. I need somewhere between the $180 person who was here for like 5 hours and then the 2 people that were here for an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes really, for $100. Like technically that's $50 to $60 an hour plus, with tip. Like that's a lot. I don't know. I mean, they did a fine job. Like I'll probably do it again, but bless their souls. I left on my work lunch break, so I didn't have to like be here while they were cleaning because awkward. And I was over by a few minutes, like I didn't want to come back. So they were like, okay, like we're ready. And so I started driving back and they were like, hey, we have to leave a little bit early for our next client. I'll just Zell us later. And I was like, okay, no worries. So I pull up literally as they're pulling out. I walk up. And if you are new here, you have not heard that I've had some issues with my apartment doors locking, bathroom doors locking, the locks. This apartment is cursed. It's not kept up to date. It's bad, bad, bad. Love it, but it's bad, bad, bad. I walk up with my work bag. I'm supposed to get back on the clock. Like my lunch break is already a few minutes over. The door is locked. How do you lock the door? What the fuck? I don't have a key so basically on my door, there's like a deadbolt, right? And then from the inside, there's also a little push lock. It's as big as like the pushy part of a pen, like not the tip, but like the thing that you push to make the tip come out. So bless their heart, they were like, okay, we're leaving this person's house. We should lock the door. So they pushed the lock and left. There's no key for that. There's no key for a push lock. So of course I panic. And I'm like, I'm going to have to call this property manager again. I just can't deal with it. I'd rather just like jump off this balcony. I just can't deal with it anymore. Can't deal with him. He's going to be like, what? No, but really. So I called Great Idea Redhead Rachel because I needed her to talk me down and she knew the housekeepers. I don't know why I thought she could help. Well, she did help. So I called her and I was like, listen, this is what happened. I need you to talk me through. And she's like, okay. She's like, first of all, that's a weird lock to have on a outside door. Like how, like that could accidentally lock so many times. How would that ever work? I'm like, I know. But anyway, I need to get in the house. Can you help me talk me through it? Or do I have to call my property manager? And she had a great idea. And she's like, you just need something skinny to put in it. Well, what did I have skinny? Guess what else has come in handy? My hoop earring. Remember, I will take something out of my teeth with my hoop earring. And guess what? I took my hoop earring out of my earlobe, straightened it out into a straight line, broke the clasp off the back, and put that thing through the door like a superhero and got in. So really, you don't need toothpicks. You don't need safety pins. You don't need business cards with you. You just need extra hoop earrings at all times because there's no telling what you can do with a hoop earring. Thank you very much. But so then I get in. I'm like, okay, thanks for the pep talk. Gotta go. And I'm like walking. She's like, well, did they do a good job? I'm like, yeah, surface wise, it looks really good. Looks good so far. I'm looking around. I go to open the bathroom door. Locked. Bathroom door. Locked. Like, what the hell is going on in this apartment? Which leads me to the next thing. One of my coworkers today was talking about how she only gets real Christmas trees. And I was like, I only get real Christmas trees too. I love a real Christmas tree. It's more about going to get the real Christmas tree than having it because, I can't smell anymore. So what's the fucking point? But anyway, I was like, yeah, I normally get a real Christmas tree, but I feel like it's a very bad idea to get a real Christmas tree in this apartment. I feel like it's asking for some sort of fire, flammable something, disaster to happen. Like, I don't want to speak it into existence, but I just like something about this place has some weird juju. I don't know. I don't even know what to do about that. And then my downstairs neighbor who listens to this podcast, hello, texted me asking me if the laundry was working. Hey, remember the last time you texted me asking me if something was working and I said it wasn't, and then I got, called the person and it was really just a NyQuil cap blocking my sink drainage, not a plumbing issue. But anyway, she's like, hey, is the washer working from you? Because it's communal. And I said, yes. And she said, oh, not for me. And I sent her a gif of me eating popcorn, watching her call, like, okay, you found the mistake. You call the property manager. Like, no, not for me. I can't be bothered. I haven't had to talk to that guy in months. And it's been a lovely life. Besides that, I've started going on some dates again. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too promising. No offense. Imagine I get a text message or a phone call after listening to this podcast, because I don't immediately tell people I have a podcast that I'm going on dates with, but if they pry too much, then I have to tell them. Like, they're like, what do you do for work? I tell them, what did you used to do for work? Why'd you move from California? What did you do in your free time? What do you do in your free time? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? It's like, at some point, I am busy 30 extra hours a week. I have to account for those hours. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm trying to keep it a secret, but it's not the first thing I want to tell somebody that I'm dating. Like, one, I don't want you listening to my every move, which is even why I don't like following you on social media right away. Second, I don't really want you keeping tabs with me in that way. And also, you know what? Maybe I should tell people, because if you're feeling that fucking sensitive to where you can't hear that I'm dating other people, and honestly, step your game up then. Like, if we're dating and I just said that I haven't been on any great dates, like, step it up. So anywho, yeah, back in the dating game. And, I'm giving some people, like, I've been on dates with people who said they were 6 foot. By the way, be proud. Pat me on my back. Some people who said they were 6 foot in their profile, I swiped yes to. I'm trying to be more open-minded. And guess what? I went on a date with one and he was 6 foot, and I went on a date with another one and he was 5'10". So, 50-50 chances there. Anyway, great guys. I'm not sure if we'll be continuing. You know what I mean? Like, we're just moving slowly. We're going with the flow. But I am going to kind of revisit the dating and the open mind and stuff in a little bit, because for this episode, I kind of thought it was a good time to have a little bit of a self-reflection. I have had 2 really rough moments in the past 2 weeks. I talked about one of them in length. The second one I just kind of grazed over when I had my adorable guest on, Simran Lalani, last week. But Lord have mercy, your girl is tired of having those anxiety feelings. Like, I don't know if it has to do with, apparently Mercury's in retrograde. Like, what does that actually mean? I don't know. I want to have somebody on to talk about that, because maybe, like, that would make me feel really like something was actually wrong and it's not just me. But anyway, yeah, a couple weekends ago, I had an experience which I'm actually now thankful for. So I was trying to be really productive with the podcast. It was a Saturday, and I woke up in the morning. I got some good sleep. I went to the coffee shop. I did my thing. I was feeling good. I journaled, like, all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, right, to, like, get me in a good mindset and healthy and ready for the day to be productive. I got home. I sat in front of my podcast computers, and I, like, opened them up with password, and I sat, like, still frozen. Every time my computer went to timeout, I touched it again so it would come back to life. And then I sat. I was like, I don't know, maybe the equivalent of, like, writer's block, I guess you could say. But then I would look at my calendars, my huge, lovely calendars that I have behind me, and see that they were empty, and then see that I had to record an episode coming up, and I didn't know what I was going to talk about, and does anyone actually want to listen to this, and does anyone actually care, and why am I doing this? Like, I love it, but, like, do people love it? Is it worth it? Like, just having I'm working myself up, right? So I did this for hours. Like, I'm embarrassed to say I did this probably for 3 hours. Sat in front of my podcast computer. I did switch over a load of laundry, which was great. But I was really feeling, like, very debilitated, very overwhelmed. And I went to text 2 of my sisters and, like, didn't know how to ask for help. So I just texted, like, I'm having an identity crisis. Ha ha ha. And then my sister texted me and she's like, what's going on? What's happening? She had to get on the phone with me, and in the most lovely way possible, she's like, what's going on? What's happening? And I was like, I have a list. I have a to-do list. I can't get concentrated. I'm mad at myself. I'm procrastinating. I'm putting things off. And she's like, okay. She's like, tell me what's on your list. But while you're telling me what's on your list, let's fold that laundry that you mentioned that's sitting on your bed. And I was like, I have to get laundry from the dryer. She's like, walk to the dryer. And I was like, I can't. And she's like, get off the chair and go get the laundry from the dryer. And I'm not exaggerating, you guys. I'm probably like under telling the story. Like I was in hysterics because I couldn't move from my computer chair to go do something that I had to do. And then I get so hard on myself after that. And so that's just a little bit more detailed to what I talked about last week. And I don't want every solo episode to be me talking about my anxiety, but I do get messages when I share about things like that. People really appreciate that. So I do want to keep that just like as an open line of communication and an open door policy. But with that said, my sister was like, you're doing so great. Like, you're just doing too much. You know what I mean? And so anyway, she stayed on the phone with me for a couple hours. Ended up being very productive that day. I had to put the podcast stuff off to the next day, I think, or I think even the following day. I was like, I just need to I can't pressure myself to do this again, so I just need to take some time. I ended up meeting up with my girlfriends that night, which I originally said I wanted to stay home and sulk. I didn't say the sulking part, but I was like, I'm gonna opt out, thanks. And they were like, really, come? And I was like, okay. So I went, and instead of lying, and when my friend was like, what'd you do today? I at first was like, oh, I just was doing stuff, and I was like, actually, I had a huge anxiety attack and I had a terrible day, and that's why I wanted to stay home. And she's like, Paige, why? And so basically she ended up just giving me some words of encouragement and just being a good friend, right? Just the same way that my sister was doing. And so that is bringing me to this self-reflection episode, because I was talking to my therapist last week about it, and I said, wow, I don't remember ever receiving. People have offered me help. People have helped me. I've asked for help, yes, but it is hard for me to ask for help, and I'm a hard person to help. I don't ever remember receiving it so well on my end. When my sister called me, instead of putting up a fight and being like, Megan, you don't get it, but still letting her help me, but not receiving it. Or when my friend was like, well, Paige, you do a lot. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. You need to relax a little bit, give yourself a little bit more credit. Instead of being like, no, I need to do this. In order to be successful, I have to do this. I was like, yeah, thank you for the input, And I woke up the next day feeling so grateful, thankful. I was just reflecting. I was full of just graciousness for myself, for allowing myself to be open to the help that people so badly want to offer me when I so harshly turn down or don't allow them to. So that's why I wanted to do the self-reflection episode. I'm rambling, but yeah, I wanted to talk about things that I've improved on and I'm really proud of myself on, but I also am not taking away things that I definitely still need to improve on. So things that I am proud of, that asking for help. I mean, even though I didn't ask, hey, I need help, I need a pep talk, can you call me please? I opened the door and somebody answered, and my sister called me and was able to help, and I didn't fight it. So I want to continue down that road, because I just felt so fulfilled by allowing someone to help me. And I really don't remember the last time I felt that full in my heart for someone else's help. Does that make any sense? I don't know. But so asking for help, being open to help, I'm really proud of myself for doing, and I want to continue to do that. Something else in this it was 2 or 3 therapy sessions ago, my therapist passed me. I was about to walk out the door and she passes me this paper, and I was like, oh, what's that? And she's like, oh, it's just a little worksheet on communication. And it was just so casual. And I was like, bitch, I communicate a lot. What are you what is it? She's like, yeah, I just think you need to be a little bit more direct. You do communicate a lot, but you're skirting around the topic. You just need to be a little bit more direct, and not a, hey, I'm going to do this if that's okay with you. Say what you're going to do. Say if you're around, that's cool. If you're able to be there, if you're able to help, if you're able to do this, or, with other friend things that I will bring up in a moment. But like, be direct. Don't mince your words. Don't give mixed signals. Be direct. So I feel like it's taken me a lot to work up to doing that, but I feel like I'm doing a little bit better. And rather than like feeling guilty for like asking someone of something, for example, Cinco, like for the podcast, he is lovely and is available to help so often, and I appreciate it. And so I do sometimes get a little bit uncomfortable or fearful that I'm putting too much on somebody. That's just one example. Recently, another example of me asking for help, actually, which is like maybe not a direct thing again, but like I was having like a rough day at work and dealing with some stupid person, and said to my coworker, I was like, I need to get a drink. Can you come get a drink with me? And she's like, oh, okay. I think normally she's the one who wants to go get a drink. And I was like, I need a drink. So anyway, being more direct with my communication, more direct with asking for help. So about the direct communication, it's really hard for someone who identifies as a recovering people pleaser, i.e. me, because recently there was a situation where it's been an ongoing situation, but I didn't want to cause any more waves. Like, it had kind of calmed down and we were just like at a steady like pace, like a coexisting lovely little happy place. My little Tupperware of the problem was up in the attic, didn't have to like deal with it, or didn't have to make me feel sad or cause any more problems. And so recently it had become apparent that like I needed to like, there needs to be some sort of closure or something to the issue. And that was really hard for me, and it took me a long time to get the confidence up and understand why it was so important to me. Like, I didn't do it because my therapist told me to do it. We talked about it thoroughly, and it was in the end the right thing to do. And the other person involved actually had the same, like, once I was direct about my communication, brought it to that person's attention, they were like, hey, I'm actually on the same page with you. Perfect. No problem. And it's been squared away. And it was so simple. So I have an ongoing issue of like working things up in my head so much that they're going to be big and bad and scary and awful. And so that's what I was doing with that situation. So I am proud of myself. So direct communication wins in the end of the day for me. And also like on the creating waves end, well, okay, if something I do or say is going to create waves, like, yeah, that's not ideal, but it's also not ideal for me to be like sitting in those feelings, like holding myself back and not being true to myself. And if that's weighing on me, you know what I mean? Like, I can't tiptoe around what may or may not happen, as so many people say. Like, you got to look at the facts. Like, you can't make problems up or situations up in your head. You have to look at the facts. The facts are XYZ. So why are you still doing C? Like, C is gone. We're past C. It's only XYZ. So deal with that right now. So that's that. Not taking things personally. I think I've grown a lot in that way. I used to be really sensitive to, like, for example, friends making plans, like without me, but then like throwing out like a late invite or something like that. Like, oh, they didn't want me to come, I shouldn't invite myself. Like, then, and it's like, no, we're talking and we just hung out, or like you just weren't at top of mind, but like, yeah, you're welcome to come, So that's been really nice. I will say I probably still have to work on that as far as dating goes in the romantic relationship arena. I definitely do take things. I mean, how can you not? Like, if you're dating and you're in that kind of relationship with somebody, how can you not take something that happens personally? But I'm trying to be better at that. Or like, for example, if like, we're texting and someone just stops texting, like they just got busy, like it's not an attack on me. Like, calm the fuck down. What else? I am very proud of myself. However, this causes waves, but I have chosen to stick to my guns a lot lately. And it's been a really good feeling. Like, I've been confident in what I've said. I think that's where the direct and assertive communication comes in. And so I am proud of myself for that. Although I will say that sometimes I stick a little to my guns too much. Like, I think my shit don't stink a little bit too much when my shit really stinks sometimes, and I gotta own up to that. So those are the things that that I feel like I've really progressed in, and I just want to keep progressing. Now, back to the sticking to my guns thing. The way that I think that's a little bit of a negative is because I feel like that could be considered brat-like behavior. And I was recently called a brat. And it's like I didn't disagree with the statement. They were like, you're being a brat. You're being bratty. And I was like, yeah, I am. Because you're not doing the things that I want. Which is bratty. You know what I mean? Like, I can only control the facts, and I can only control myself. I need to keep my side of the street clean, act how I want to act, be proud of that, because that is going to, one, set me apart, and one, then I'm never going to be embarrassed by my actions. I feel like I've mastered that with my friends, but in the dating game, I think I have a huge wall up, and I will be a brat. And I don't know if that's like self-sabotage. I don't know if it's like trying to push the other person to their limit, like basically we're not going to, pushing someone away, probably a little bit. However, I still do believe in what I'm asking. I just think that there's like a different way to go about it, or there's more compromises that can be made. Don't get it twisted. It's not that I don't want to stick to my standards. It's just that like I do feel like I can be a little bratty, but I am really nice. Like, remember that guy who told me to relax, and then he reached out like months later on the dating app, and he changed to one of his profile prompts to like being entitled. Like, I will turn this car around if anyone's being entitled. Like, fuck off. I don't think I'm entitled, but I know he was talking about me. But I do think that I can be very like, I don't know if it's necessarily my way or the highway, but it's like, I do know a good way. Like, I know the right highway to take. So if you just come over to my highway, it's better over here. You know what I mean? Like, I get a little stuck in that way because I do think I'm smart and I'm nice and I'm nurturing and I'm caring and like, I got it. I know a good way. So like, just come try it my way. You won't regret it. You know what I mean? But if they don't come over here, then I'm like, what are you doing? You're making this a mess. You could just come over here and we could be lovely. But I do think, to be honest to myself and to you, I do think it's a form of self-sabotage. I do think that I am taking other situations and humans that have maybe wronged me or done things wrong or, you know, upset me or hurt me, taking those characteristics. And when I see one of those characteristics, I'm like, how can I help you? What's up? Like, okay, you're calling for what? Like, I get like that. So I acknowledge it and I'm going to work on it. It's going to be a work in progress. I can't guarantee anything. But I think some things are going to help with that. Like showing gratitude, which I kind of mentioned earlier. Like I was gracious for the help that I received from my sister and my friend and being open to it, and gracious to myself for allowing that, right? I've talked before about like, just be nice to ourselves. Just be nice to yourself. Don't talk mean to yourself. It's so much easier said than done, because working through like the past two little anxiety situations that I had in the past 2 weekends, the common denominator for why it got so out of control for me mentally was when I started beating myself up about being upset, beating myself up about having writer's block, beating myself up about why am I having this anxiety on my chest and I can't breathe, like nothing fucking happened, get over it, Paige. Then I get more worked up and things progress. And if I could just be nice to myself, like my friend said to me and said, Paige, you are so great. You do a lot. Like, you're always making sure to do something every day. My sister said, like, you make sure you go to workout classes on your lunch. Like, then you go on walks multiple times. Like, you are doing a lot. You need to give yourself some fucking credit. So I really want to move that to the top of my list to be better at, because I think that's the catalyst for like me an unlimited success. I feel like if I get out of, I'm getting a little teary-eyed thinking about it. Like, I feel like if I can get out of my way, there's no stopping me. Like, and I think that for everyone individually, I think that's, I mean, probably a common issue for a lot of people, but, yeah, so I guess I mean, obviously I'm just sharing as I fucking normally do and talking out of my ass, and Cinco's becoming uncomfortable because there may be a tear coming from my eyes, and now we start looking at his phone. He's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine. But yeah, I just think that, and I'm not trying to preach and pretend I know what's best for everyone. I'm just simply sharing some things that I've been going through that I think that are relatable, hopefully. I mean, some of the times I really do be talking out of my ass, so I don't know about that. But yeah, I think that if we can I think that if I can take accountability for myself, stop self-sabotaging, stop trying to be perfect, be proud of the progress that I've made, balance myself a little bit out a little bit more better, and practice gratitude and physical, mental health, I think I'll be just on a more consistent, better pace. Now, I do want to bring up that, like, when my sister was talking to me, she was like, it seems that you're a bit depressed. You know, it seems that's kind of what I'm hearing. And I was like, yeah, I do feel that way today, but like typically I don't. You know, I did last weekend for a day, now I do for a day today. Like, I don't know, am I depressed if I feel it every once in a while? And she was like, have you ever thought about taking anxiety medication? And I said, yeah, and I don't want to. You know, and I got a little defensive. And she's like, okay, why? What's the research? Talk to me about it. Like, you're being very close-minded. She's like, I'm not telling you to take it, but like, if you've thought about it and you've looked into it, then why? And I said, I just don't want to. I'm just not going to. And while I currently right now still have that same mindset that I don't want to, two, I'm not ready for that. I think it's a little hypocritical because I have recommended that to people before. Like, good friends of mine, family members of mine, coworkers have described similar feelings to what I've been saying. And I've been like, there's no shame in anxiety medication. It is a beautiful thing that we have this capability to help us as humans manage our emotions a little bit, manage our anxiety, manage our depression. And there's no shame in that. And so I wanted to also put that out there because I want to hold myself accountable. I don't necessarily know that I'm on that track to needing it or wanting it right now, but I do believe the words that I said. There is no shame in it. I think for me, it's like one of the top things that comes to mind is like, I've just got so many fucking things going on. Like, I've got a bad ankle. I've got 2 bad hips. Like, I'm just like, my tailbone needs something. Like, I just can't possibly do one more thing right now. I think that was like the top thing that came. But I am going to do some research, and I'm going to look into having someone who's very knowledgeable on those types of medication, depression, anxiety medicine, and see if I can get them on the podcast because I would love to learn a little bit more. And like I said before, I've recommended to good friends, family, and, you know, strangers or just acquaintances that, hey, there's help out there for us. Like, let's take it. You know, don't deny the help. And here I am being kind of a dick in denying the possibility of help. My therapist actually said that to me before when I was like, no, you know? So I just thought that, and if any of you guys have any knowledge on it or like a good website or something like that, like slide in my DMs and let me know because I'm going to start to look into it as well. Again, like I feel like if I can master, I'd like to try other things before that. I'd like to, you know, I don't know, meditation has not really worked for me, but like just be consistent with a workout schedule, be consistent with a schedule, make sure that I'm excelling in, work and the podcast, and just doing, like, crossing everything off on the list that I should do before I kind of go to that area. I want to make sure that I do. So, holy shit. Did I miss anything? someone wrote in a self-reflection. I posted on my IG to post, anything that they were like proud of or continuously working on. So this person wrote in, I'm struggling to make the right decision for me personally without hurting the ones I love and potentially losing many of the ones I cherish and love. The pain of it is supposed to teach me something, but I'm for sure struggling to figure out the right path. Whoo. I felt that one because me moving to Texas, that's what I felt. That exact write-in from a whiner. My family was going through a really hard time. Obviously, it was COVID. I felt like I was really like one person in my life's life raft. Well, a few people. Like I was their life raft. They were not going to survive without me. And yet, I made the decision to move away, to move out of state during COVID and during a terrible time in my family's life. But I have to tell you, yes, I lost sleep over it. It was a hard decision to make, but go me. Like looking back, it was the best thing I've ever done. It was the best thing I've ever done. Telling my family that I was leaving was really hard. Telling them about the decision. I didn't ask them if it was okay. I didn't ask them for input. I said, I'm doing this. Huge fight occurred. Like one of only a few in my life of fights with this person. Tears were shed. I'm telling you, if you have to make a decision between doing something that's going to benefit you and benefit everyone else but you and leave you sad or lonely or struggling, you have to choose you. There's no other option. And I can tell you that from personal experience. I know that that's hard to do. I know of somebody else around that similar time who was making a hard decision, not a similar decision, but like around that time they were talking to me about like, woo, I need to make this decision. It is going to make some people unhappy, but it is what I want to do. It's what I have to do. And I was like, then what is the question? And I had already like made my decision. You know what I mean? Like I was already like confident in what I did. And I knew that like it was light on the other side. If your family and your friends don't support you and love you after this decision that you're talking about, whoever wrote that in, because it was an anonymous one, they're not your family or your friends and they don't deserve you. There could be a little bit of a grace period. There's going to be upset feelings, hard feelings, sad, miss you, or hurt possibly. But as long as you're not like intentionally hurting someone physically, emotionally, taking the piss out of someone, then you need to choose you. And I stand firm on that. So thank you for writing that in. I hope I helped. Okay. Procrastination, wine of the week, guilty. I, as you all know, used to work in the costuming industry. Part of my job used to be going to buy clothes, costumes for set, for Hollywood, for actors, actresses. And if they didn't work out, like we would do fittings with the actors and then they didn't work out, we would go return them. I mean, some designers had me return clothes like after we filmed, like with a tag still on. Like, yeah, that happened. That would give me a lot of anxiety. I would have to lie about it. And oh my God, one time I returned everything on this huge Banana Republic receipt. And like in LA, people would be like, oh, do you work for the studios? Like that's what the customer or the cashier would say. And I'd be like, what are the studios? Like you had to lie yourself out of it. And they'd be like, well, what's your reason for returning? Because basically you have, if you're a studio, you can go into any store and say, hey, I'm with the studios. And they say, no problem. Great. They know you're going to buy hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars worth of clothes, but they're going to charge you like a 10% restocking fee, right? Or 20% or whatever it is, depending on the store. But the budget is small. As you know, we're on strike. They can't even fucking pay their crew. So basically we would just go and like act like we're just like shopping for like nothing. Like we're just a normal human shopping. Like how can you prove I'm working for the studios, you know? But anyway, they would catch on if they see you all the time and they would start to question you. So one time this Banana Republic return, I returned everything. I think there were only 6 items, but it was all really expensive, like full price items. And the girl was giving me such a hard time. And I made up this whole story about, she's like, oh, like what is the reason for the return? And they were like mom clothes, you know, it was like for an older woman character. And, I was like, oh, like they just didn't work out. And she's like, can I put down a reason that they didn't work out? Like she knew that I worked for the studios and she was just fucking with me. And I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, Yeah, it was for my ex-boyfriend's mother, and we just broke up, and he bought her a stupid Vitamix anyway, and she already had a fucking Vitamix, so that's why I'm returning all the fucking clothes. I don't know why I segued to that topic, but my wine of the week is returning. I used to be a pro returner. I used to be able to return all the time. That was like part of my job. And now I had a housewarming party a month and a half ago, and I had these things I had to return to Party City, and they've been sitting, like things I didn't use, cups, napkins, da-da-da. They've been sitting in my trunk, like, perfect, I'll return them next time I drive by a Party City. You only have 30 days to return something these days. So it's past the 30 days. Now what the fuck am I going to do with these gold napkins? I just think we should have a little bit more leeway. That's my wine of the week. Like, and also now these people are getting so smart and putting tags like on the under and the outer of a dress. Like, you can't even try it on. They're like, tags have to be intact. I'm like, well, what if I try it on and I don't like it and now I've ripped the tag? So I used to be a big, like, even as a consumer, like Amazon, like I'll buy a bunch of shit, different sizes, and then return it. That's another thing. I returned a few things to Amazon, you know, and you can do it like at UPS or Whole Foods or whatever. I returned 2 items to UPS, well, among other items, and they're saying that they didn't get the items. How do I prove? I guess I was supposed to keep the fucking, the tracking number. That's how I was supposed to prove it. Okay, idiot. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have. That's all I have. I can't wait for my crop top to be here for the adultish merch. When it does, it should be here by now. I need to check on that. But merch is available. You can get little wine cups and thermoses and shirts and sweaters and hats. They're super cute. And yeah, do all the things. If you are listening to this, like when the episode ends, like before you go pee, before you sign back onto work, what else could you be doing while you're listening to the podcast? Like right after you start the dishwasher, like go leave a review. Like it's going to take you 2 minutes, maybe 90 seconds, and I'll be so thankful. Follow me on the IG page _Crutcher. Follow me on IG Adultish Wines. YouTube, of course, we have video available and this very expensive camera. Like, hello, go watch it. Please subscribe. Thank you so much. TikTok, I got to be better at posting. What else am I missing? I think that's it. Okay, Whiners. That's it. I love you. I'll see you next Thursday. Bye.